and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Let me begin with these few comments. First of all, just a joy to be with you here today. There's nothing nicer than simply to share the goodness, to share the oneness and kindness with each other, knowing that we are part of a universal consciousness, bringing heaven to the planet. I also want to encourage all of you to send your loving energy into the ethers, to pray for especially our officials in government, bringing healing to our country. With a very critical public, it is so difficult at times to be able to satisfy everyone. I just encourage you to especially ask for guidance for our public health officials and our politicians to do what is right for our country. And lastly, I just want to comment on all of the good things that you're doing. Your personal deeds of goodness and kindness, wrought from a sense of loving kindness within yourself, and yet very smart and very intelligent. I just offer you so many kudos for the wonderful things you are bringing forth in your life. I'm so proud of you. Well done. Very well done. With that in mind, I'd like to share obviously today's teaching. As we enter today's teaching on the soul's continuing response to physical death, we are focusing on the most important issue of your life, namely, on how you see yourself. While you are certainly aware that you are much more than just a physical body, life just seems to be so complex at times that it is often very difficult to maintain your sense of self day in and day out as an eternal, conscious soul. And yet, that is who we are. That is what we are. We are a conscious, eternal soul, having and hopefully enjoying this human experience, and becoming more and more conscious of living this way, of living this newer you day in and day out, no longer duped by the fears of loss of the body. It is precisely this next level of the soul's response to knowing itself that I would like to present in today's teaching. This material is very thought-provoking. It's very thought-provoking. It's deep. I simply encourage you to take some notes that you might be able to review later on. Let's begin with a brief review of the previous teachings on physical death. First and foremost, our continuing love and support to those with health issues and those dealing with the passing of a loved one. Our loving response to give support in any way we can, hugs, encouragement, is so very important. Secondly, I believe that we have clearly shown that we really are spiritual beings having this human experience. And being a spiritual being is the most realistic and practical way of living life. And then thirdly, we dealt with that lingering problem of consistently dealing with one's physical passing, and not only our own physical passing, but especially the notion of someone else's physical passing, because either our own or another's physical passing are so deeply embedded in human consciousness, so that when one is dealing with such passing, it's very, very difficult to see beyond the body and to understand a deeper sense of being an eternal soul. It takes a lot of time to be able to look past simply the body and understanding there is so much more going on. So that in today's teaching, I will focus on viewing your present life from the soul's perspective, expressing what is necessary for you to do, and then seeing the effects of such a vision, and then lastly suggesting a future direction of what is possible. Let's begin with what is necessary to hold for the soul's perspective. I suggest the following. First, may I say again that you are truly looking at how you see yourself. This is so very, very important. All of the spiritual work that has been done in the past comes now to rest in this particular moment. It is a decisive moment. Not a scary one, but this is a very decisive moment. Namely, are you ready? Are you ready to acknowledge yourself as a conscious, eternal soul? Are you ready to acknowledge yourself as a conscious, eternal soul, and to maintain your soul identity as your true identity, your true sense of self? That this is who I am. I am an eternal soul, consciously present here in the material world. This question of your readiness to be able to proclaim yourself truly as an eternal soul is the watershed question of your identity. Are you ready? Are you ready to say that, yes, I am an eternal soul? It takes time to answer this question. It takes moments of focused attention. While others might be supportive of you and helpful to you, it is still your individual decision that is most necessary. From this moment forward, are you ready? Are you ready to acknowledge yourself as a conscious, eternal soul? That the inner you, that the soul you, is you. This response is not done without sufficient meditation, without sufficient time and attention. So I ask you to take the time this week, give it your attention. It deserves to be understood and answered this week. Are you or are you not conscious that you are an eternal soul made in the image and likeness of God? Such an important question to answer. As I proceed, I will presume that for now, that after some reflection, that you have answered that question positively, that you are, and I am, conscious, eternal souls, and how this response will make such a change in you. First, let me suggest, you will be entering a new sense of self-awareness. You will have gone beyond the limiting thoughts of simply being a human being that is often defined by simply your body and your situation in the world. A new inner you, a new inner you will begin to emerge. A new inner observation point begins to come into daily focus. You begin to see your life from a unified combination of your higher mind and your sacred heart. Those two beautiful still points within us, our higher mind and our sacred heart. We see ourselves from within. You begin to see that your primary awareness is an inner consciousness, and you're beginning to experience yourself what Deepak Chopra said in that wonderful book of his, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, in his first step, in which he clearly states that you and I, that we are an infinite field of consciousness. You and I are an infinite field of consciousness. This infinite field of consciousness has begun to be the new you. You are clearly aware of it, and you are now directing your life from it. It has become the new you. The old boundaries, the old fears, the old limitations, the old stuff has ceased. You have become a new you. You have become a very conscious inner you. And then, the second thing happens. You begin to enter. You begin to enter the new you. You begin to show up as the new you. You begin to more easily hold the awareness of the new you. You begin to respond to life from within, from this new observation point, from this new higher experience of yourself. You know that you have changed. You know that you have made the shift from simply seeing yourself as that limited human being to knowing yourself as that eternal spiritual being. While you know that, you must still deal with some of the old behaviors, those old behaviors. But the good news is, those old behaviors, now seen from a different observation point, the old stuff no longer impedes you, but in fact you're happy to see it come up so that you can dismiss it once and for all from the inner new observation point. Your new observation point of an infinite field of consciousness has become your new reference point of life. You're beginning to see everything from this new advantage point. You have made the change. And while you appreciate others who have also made the change, you are no longer dependent on them. You have made the change. And it feels so right. I can't say enough of how important this shift of consciousness truly is. Let's now look at some of the changes of your new vantage point, how some of those things now are making a difference in you. And then we will conclude where we began, how the new you will look at physical death. But first, some changes in the new you. First, realize again that you have made the shift. And would you simply realize how good you feel? It is vital that you feel the goodness of the energy that you have entered into. Such an important thing to allow this new energy, to raise you not only in consciousness, but also in feeling, that you feel good, that you feel confident, but most of all, that you feel that this new energy, is you. The new energy is you. You are forever changed. You are ready to move forward in this universal, infinite, conscious field of knowing. And as you do so, you're probably going to notice these characteristics. This is so important. First, you will feel a oneness with everything, with the divine, with nature, with others, and most importantly, with every aspect of your own personal life. There is nothing that is not you. You're happy wherever you are. For wherever you are, you feel, well, that's where you're meant to be, to receive and to exchange goodness in all circumstances. You just feel that oneness. And with that oneness comes that incredible sense of loving. You sincerely show up, loving everyone in every circumstance. You're beginning to realize that you are showing up as an ambassador of God, that you are an ambassador of the loving presence of the Holy Spirit. You are happy to love others in all your circumstances because you feel a oneness with them. Perhaps maybe for the first time in your life, you can honestly say, I love my neighbor as I love myself. I do. I love the other as I've come to love myself. You have released the notion that it's all about me, and you have replaced it with, how can I be loving here and now? Do you not see that difference? Monumental difference. You've released this idea that it's all about me, and replaced it with, well, how can I be loving here and now? And the neat thing about this is that you are only beginning to love more. You know that there is much more to come. Thirdly, you begin to live life as an adventure. You are less occupied with the past and future because, as Ram Dass has said, you are here now. Or as Eckhart Tolle said in The Power of Now, this is the present moment, the moment of now. And you are clearly realizing that you are taking your rightful place right here, right now, at this moment, as a conscious creator of the universe, and that your present conscious creation is your present adventure in life. It's like the Course in Miracles says, you are taking your rightful place as co-creator of the universe, and you and I, we are consciously creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy. We're doing this consciously, clearingly, lovingly, for this is who we are. One more thing. You truly see that life is unfolding in the future from the inside out. Life is unfolding from the inside out. You're not so much worried about this or that, but now you are so trusting that your soul self is intuitively guiding you, and that your future is going to be clearly guided by your soul self, so that you will be ever more confident in your life, that you really know what you're doing, You know what you're doing. You've changed. You have a new observation point. You really are a new you. And if you're not feeling it quite now, quite as ready presently, you will be shortly. You're a new you. Which now brings me to address the following question with which we began the series of teachings, namely, how does your new observation point, conscious eternal soul, look at physical death? Please be attentive. There are several points to consider. The first and most important, the first point and the most important is that physical death to the body makes one look at the more permanent basis for the meaning of life, namely your eternal soul. Let me repeat this. That physical death to the body makes one look to a more permanent basis for the meaning of life, namely your eternal soul. I just said one more time. Physical death to the body makes one look at a much more permanent basis for the meaning of life, namely the eternal soul. I suggest to you that physical death is a pointer. It points us away from physically identifying with the body and points us to the permanent identity with our soul. I'll say that again as well. Physical death is a pointer. It points us away from physical identity with the body and points us to the permanent identity of our soul. I can't stress this point enough. Physical death points us to a new place from which we can identify ourselves, namely our souls, which then gives us a new observation point from which to live. Do you not see this? It points us to the best within us, so that the best might live through us. The second point. As we continue to move into this conscious identity with its greater wisdom and its greater confidence, do you not see that the wisdom and guidance of your soul has given you the best quality of life that you have ever had? Are not your thoughts and your emotions better? The way you take care of your body and your life circumstances, they become better and better because you are now viewing them not from the dramas of the world, but rather from the wisdom of the soul, your higher knowing. You have to take time to look at your life and see what's working better for you, the limited human view or the wiser, wider, higher vision of the soul. I encourage you this week, take the time to consider this. Where do I understand best? Is it not more and more coming from the guidance and wisdom of your soul self? Thirdly, when you are in soul energy, when you are in soul awareness, and just think of this. Do you ever think of fear or dying? Are you not more attuned to life to joyful creativity. And as you spend more and more time in soul identity, you will identify more and more with soul living. Worry and fear tend to be released because you are no longer feeding them with these limited thoughts. Do you not see that? When you are in soul awareness, you're alive, you're vital, you're happy, joyful, strong. You never think of death or fear or worry. Fourthly, as you identify with the soul, you begin to see that soul living has had a pre-existence, a present existence, and a future existence. You begin to understand that you came to the earth to create heaven on the earth. Just a part of the soul's journey to joyfully bring your conscious soul awareness to a continuing creative manifestation of its eternal existence. What you're doing here, heaven on earth, you've done before, and you'll do in the future. Wherever you are, heaven is. Wherever you are, heaven is. Don't you feel that? Earth is just one more step, one more adventure of your soul, with many more to come. Fifth and lastly, physical death will take on one of the several new meanings for you that follow. For some, at least, all fear of death will be removed. For some, you will simply step out of your body when the time is appropriate to do so. For some, you will energize your body and take it with you when you are ready to do so. That for all of us, physical death will no longer be viewed as a human limitation, that will be seen from the vantage point of the eternality of your soul, for yourself and for others. Therefore, your time here on earth and everyone's time here on earth will be seen always as it was meant to be, a celebration of life. Time on earth seen eternally as a celebration of life. And might I add, a celebration of life, preparing the soul for its future. Come to understand this. Your life here, presently, a celebration of life, preparing the soul for its future. Please ponder this teaching. Think about it over the next several weeks. It is really a matter of life, not of death. In conclusion, I know that these teachings on physical death have been instructive for us. Please study them. Please reflect on them. See their wisdom, and especially put them to the test. Know for sure who you are. You are a beautiful, eternal soul created for life. And as the Jewish toast announces so beautifully, L'chaim, to life, L'chaim, to life. Let me now lead you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. This is a very important time for us now. This is a very important time for us. Let's begin as we normally do, by simply focusing on the breath, just breathing in and breathing out, and just feeling that presence within us, allowing it to relax your body, empty your mind, and bring your soul self to the fore. Please begin. Would you simply now notice yourself? Here you are. Here you are. And would you just say to yourself a couple of phrases like, "This is me. This is me." And here I am. Here I am. This is me. It's no one else. It's me. Here I am. And would you notice how conscious you are of yourself? Very alert, very attentive. You know exactly who you are. This inner you is your soul self. This inner you is your soul self. It's the eternal you. It's the permanent you. Now this is very important. With your hand, would you simply tap your leg and notice that you have a body. But do you not clearly see that the body you have is not you? You have a body, but it is not you. Just important to know that. You have a body, but it is not you. Rather, your body is the vehicle whereby you can express your soul self to bring heaven to earth. Your purpose in life is to bring the beauty and goodness of your soul into manifestation here on the planet. You are in charge. Your body is the vehicle. There are so many ways to look at physical passing. For some, it's very fearful, very scary, because they so identify with the body and their life circumstances. This is very understandable because such feelings are so embedded in the human psyche. You are moving beyond such feelings. Because you have a new identity. You know who you are. Now this is so important because you know who you are. You know who everyone else is. They too are eternal souls. Manifesting here in the earthly realms for the time being. would you first of all come to understand that your time here in a body is a celebration of life. You have a new reference point. You see yourself as a soul, manifesting goodness and kindness, bringing heaven to earth. And as you do so, you never think of death. You think of life. My fondest hope for you and for me is that we continue to help each other to maintain this vision of the soul. We are here for life. And when you look upon another, would you realize too that their soul is in charge of them? And they only leave when the soul is ready for them to depart. And when that might occur, may you realize that their life has also been a celebration of life. The power of this knowing is so deep. It is filled with love and goodness. And may you see that the more and more you focus on the life of your soul, you will more and more be the creative presence that you have always been meant to be. May you know this. And in the process, to the best of your ability, would you assist others to know the same thing about themselves? It's a matter of life, not death.
Peace resides, faith abounds, and love abides. The light shines bright to illumine love without, love within. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. When you are where you need to be, within that space, I honor thee. Seen through eyes, an illusion, seen through spirit, we are one. I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor
It has been such a joy to share these teachings on physical passing with you. Let's continue to help each other to understand that it is about life. L'chaim, to life. Namaste.